Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're wrestling with one of those really huge, sometimes deeply frustrating questions. I think it's something that, well, at some point, quietly gnaws at all of us. Can we humans ever truly change our nature? It's a profound dilemma, isn't it? Feels ancient and often, honestly, just seems kind of unsolvable. We look at the world, we look at ourselves, and we ask, is this really it?
Oh.
So, our source for this deep dive is a really insightful Q&A discussion. It's titled, appropriately enough, Can We Humans Ever Change Our Nature? And our mission today. To really try and cut through the noise, to pull out the key insights from this piece that might just challenge how we think about this, maybe offer a fresh perspective on this, well, this age-old problem. Because let's be honest, it often feels like we're just stuck in this loop of disappointment, right? The discussion starts off pretty blunt, actually, almost defiant. It sets a challenging tone right away. It says, and I'm quoting here, "Never mind the nice and great spoken and written words. Everything changes, and yet everything stays the same. We live in a world of words that don't mean a thing." Wow.
That sentiment, that feeling that, words are cheap and actions rarely match up, it really hits home, doesn't it? If you've ever felt that kind of crushing weight of seeing injustice, hatred, greed, etc., just everywhere on a massive scale, and noticed how it seems, I don't know, not peculiar to any country or race, how these patterns just repeat across cultures, generations, then you know exactly the kind of despair the source is tapping into. It's that moment you look at the news or even just, everyday interactions and you think, are we really stuck in this cycle? Will things ever genuinely get better? Have you felt that?
Oh, absolutely. That's a powerful opening and incredibly honest, isn't it? It just captures that cynicism perfectly. That feeling we all encounter, or maybe even feel ourselves sometimes, when we see all the negative stuff happening. The weight of that initial question, human nature, injustice, greed, it's something, I think pretty much everyone has grappled with. And the source immediately says, yeah, we get it. It confirms that many words are spoken, but of which the speakers do not believe or intend to live by. It's acknowledging that hypocrisy, that gap between talk and action that often fuels our disillusionment.
Yeah.
We hear the promises, the big declarations, but reality, it often falls short. But here's where the Q&A gets really interesting. It doesn't just stay in that negative space. It pivots pretty quickly to something quite validating, maybe even hopeful. It points out that even with all this cynicism floating around, many people at one time or the other have sought answers to the bigger questions of life. Think about that. It's not about just passively accepting things. It speaks to this fundamental human drive, doesn't it? This innate curiosity, this longing for something more. And for some people, this search actually worked. They were lucky enough, perhaps, to find answers that really resonated, that clicked. And in doing that, they became fired up to hope and strive for idealism. They found a purpose, a vision of how things could be. And that spark, well, it lit a fire.
Yes. That initial spark of idealism, it's such a potent feeling, isn't it? So exhilarating. I think we can all relate to that moment, right? When a new idea or a cause or even just a personal goal makes you feel so alive. You think, this is it. This is the truth. This is how things should be, how I will be. But then life happens. And like our source says so perceptively, over the years, we no doubt experience disappointments from many quarters that make us question the feasibility of attaining to this high level of idealism on Earth. Oof. And it's not just the big abstract stuff on the news, is it, that chips away at us. It's also, in our initial excitement, maybe expecting things around us to change dramatically, expecting everyone, everything, the whole world maybe, to suddenly get on board with our brilliant new ideal. And when that doesn't happen, when the world just kind of pushes back, that becomes another source of disappointment. Yeah. These letdowns, personal betrayals, system failures, just the sheer inertia of things, they really take their toll on our initial belief. You start to wonder, was I just naive? Was that idealism just a fantasy?
It's a very real feeling, that hope just draining away.
Exactly. And this is precisely where the Q&A offers such a crucial and maybe surprising shift in how we look at it. Instead of just letting us sink into that disillusionment, it guides us through it. It makes this really profound distinction. The source states it very clearly. The cause of the disappointments are people, sometimes ourselves included, not the ideal principles that we once and perhaps still believe in. Just pause on that for a second. That's a huge pivot. It's not the idea of justice that's wrong, for example. The ideal itself, fairness, integrity, kindness, that still holds. It's solid. It's the human execution of it that falters. It's our biases, the flawed systems, the times when we or others simply fail to live up to it. The principle itself, still valid, even when people mess up on a massive scale. It's like, the blueprint for a beautiful house isn't wrong just because the builders make mistakes or cut corners. The ideal design still exists. And to really hammer this home, the source Source points out that despite all these setbacks, despite the failures we see every day, many people still strive to abide by this ideal to the best of their ability in their individual lives. So we're not being asked to be naive here, not pretending the world isn't messy. Instead, the right response, it tells us, is not to throw away the baby with the bathwater. Don't give up on the whole idea of a better world just because we humans are imperfect pilots. The ideal remains. And there's this quiet, persistent current of people trying to live by it, even imperfectly. This distinction, separating the ideal from the flawed human attempt, it gives us something to hold on to, doesn't it? A kind of hope grounded in a deeper reality.
Okay, right. So disappointment is basically part of the deal when you aim high. And the problem isn't the aim, it's us, our human failings. But here's where it gets really interesting for me. Because the Source doesn't just leave us there, kind of staring at our own flaws. It moves beyond just diagnosing the problem. It suggests a proactive, almost revolutionary next step. It says, now that we recognize human foibles and weaknesses, it behooves us to strive harder to keep the longed-for higher standards burning within us. See, this isn't about ignoring reality. It's about facing it head-on. Yeah, people are imperfect, I'm imperfect, but using that knowledge to fuel a deeper, more resilient commitment. It's a call to action that flips the script. Instead of disappointment making us give up, that understanding of weakness actually makes us steel our resolve, and it reminds us of something really personal. When we started seeking answers to the bigger questions of life, we did so not because we expected others to change, but because we want to pursue the path pointed out to us. It brings it right back home, to our own journey.
A renewed commitment, maybe a more realistic one, to those ideals inside ourselves, instead of waiting for the world to magically fix itself. It's about accepting the change starts right here, with me, with you.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, this commitment, it isn't painted as some easy fix, not a simple path at all. The Q&A really spells out the demands of this journey. It states very clearly. The only difference now is that we know that following that path demands constant vigilance and effort and can be very lonely. That phrase can be very lonely. That really lands, doesn't it? It's incredibly honest. Trying to hold on to high ideals when the world around you seems to scoff at them, yeah, that can feel isolating. It takes continuous self-awareness, discipline, a real inner strength to keep those standards alight when, nobody's patting you on the back. Maybe you're even getting pushback. It's not always about grand public gestures either. Often it's the quiet stuff, right? The daily choices, the internal struggles, those moments of doubt where you choose the principle even when it's hard or unpopular. Yet, despite acknowledging how tough it is, the core message is one of resolve, unwavering resolve. Yet we cannot give up if we still want to keep that desire burning strongly within us, that longing for something better, for an ideal way of living. It's fundamental to give up on it. Well, that would be like extinguishing something vital inside ourselves. And the Source wraps this up with a really powerful statement of hope, of commitment. It suggests that longing plus our continued effort to strive after the ideal in our thoughts, words, and actions will for sure take us into that world where the longed-for ideal conditions do indeed exist. It implies this. Cause and effect. An ultimate payoff for this very personal, often difficult path. It's not just wishful thinking. It's a profound statement about the power of sustained individual effort to actually create change, maybe in ways we can't even fully see from where we stand now. And this raises an important question for you listening right now. In your own life, with your own choices, how do you keep that desire for the ideal burning? Especially when it feels lonely or the world seems determined to drag you down. What's your small act of vigilance?
So, after digging into all this, what does it all mean for us personally? Can we humans ever change our nature? The core takeaway, I think, the really transformative bit, is that crucial distinction we've been talking about. The difference between our ideals, the principles we hold dear, and the disappointments that come from human imperfection, our own included. It teaches us that seeing human weakness, those foibles and weaknesses, isn't a reason to ditch our ideals. Not at all. Actually, it's the opposite. It's a powerful reason to strive harder individually, to keep those longed-for higher standards burning within us. Not just for the world, maybe, but for ourselves. The path, like this Q&A says, it's demanding.
Yeah.
It can be very lonely. It needs constant vigilance and effort. It asks us to look inward, take responsibility for our own stuff, thoughts, words, actions, rather than just waiting for everything out there to change first. But ultimately, this steady personal commitment, it's presented as the only real way forward, the path that actually leads us toward a world where those ideals we long for can truly exist. It's a powerful shift, isn't it? From feeling despair about the collective to feeling empowered by individual action, it really reframes what hoping for a better world means. Thanks for joining us on this exploration today.
And maybe just one final thought to leave you with, building on this whole message we've unpacked. If this path to a better world, to realizing those ideals, really does start with individual vigilance, with consistent effort, what's one small, concrete action you can commit to, starting today? Doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's a moment of pausing before reacting. A conscious choice in how you speak to someone. A private act of integrity when no one's looking. What's one consistent step you can take to uphold the ideals you believe in, even when the world disappoints, even when that cynicism tries to creep in? It's really about finding that balance, isn't it? That delicate but strong balance between seeing reality clearly, including our own flaws, and holding fast to the idealism within you. Something to reflect on.